Hey guys, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello.
It's fun.
Yeah, I think so. That was fun. I'm just going to turn all this nasty hiss down, and then when the hiss goes, the fans will begin. So we'll just deal with that as it happens.
Brilliant. So guys, today we're talking about rhythm sounds and rhythm concepts. You know, I guess it's something that as guitar players we love solos. We love the idea of soloing and, you know, stretching our ego out, giving it some wah. However, you know, 95% of the time we're playing rhythm. We are, you know, we're part of that rhythm section. So some concepts and some ideas and sounds and how we, you know, best present that.
Yeah, or maybe even 10 ideas for more effective rhythm guitar tones.
We could do that. We could do that.
Dan's had a tough day, haven't you?
I'm over budget already on time. Okay, yeah, great.
Thanks to Fraser for making the backing tracks. We've asked Fraser to make some backing tracks for us, and he's got going with gusto. Quite like that one. He decided he was going to play bass on it rather than use sequence bass. So
nice.
We're in the game. We're kicking off, and just to put some of these things in context, hopefully, maybe.
Yes.
Right. Thing one then, Dan?
Thing one. Be part of the rhythm section.
Yes.
I like this one.
Yeah. Actually,
I'm still trying to work on this one.
I'm going to do a 20-second tangent.
Okay.
Dan and I often say, look, there's no rhythm guitar and no lead guitar. It's all just guitar.
Yes.
You have to forget that for this issue. for this one, we are talking about rhythm guitar.
We are talking about, yeah.
But what that means is guitar that's within songs.
Yeah.
It's guitar parts, really, isn't it?
Yes.
As much as rhythm guitar.
Orchestration.
Yeah.
Appropriate things.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, as you were, mate. Be part of the rhythm section.
Yeah.
There might not even be any playing in this one.
No need.
Because this is about your psychological position.
Yeah. You think about what our concepts as a rhythm section, bass and drums. Guitar should be is absolutely a part of that. So think about, you know, rhythmically what you're doing and how you're sitting in with those guys. And one thing I find really great for this is recording yourself. It's really hard to listen to yourself playing when you're playing. So if you've got a band or you've got your bass players, just put a little recording device and record and really listen objectively how you are sitting in.
Yeah, there's to put some specific things on that. You'll notice that a bass player and a drummer quite often concentrate on the kick drum. So just to get the most simplest pattern going, the bass will often, not always, sometimes follow the kick drum. So if the kick drum's going doot, 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 then the bass would be a good place for the bass to start as well. Yep. And that doesn't hurt for the rhythm guitar, not to necessarily play exactly the same thing, but to be aware of those two things.
Sure.
And the second one for rhythm guitar players is hi-hats.
Hi-hats is huge.
Hi-hats is so important because if the hi-hat is banging on a 16th there, doing that absolutely in time is great if you can do it. And if you can't do it, don't do it.
Yeah. And
do something that complements rather than goes all over it.
Sure. And if the hi-hat is swung and you're playing straighter,
yeah,
you know, so that is just about listening and learning to listen to our traditional rhythm section and being aware that you are a part of it.
Because we can be so focused on guitar parts, we can forget that there is a bass player and a drummer and maybe a keys player or some or percussionist or whatever, you know, ad infinitum band members.
Part one done, no playing.
Yes.
Like it.
Get it in your brain, you're part of the rhythm section.
Yeah, beautiful.
Nice.
So number 2, play something different.
We have covered this in the 2 guitar episode we did a few months back, where there are 2 guitar players, often 2 guitar players in a band, and you need to just sort of step aside from one another. If we talk specifically about rhythm parts, this might be, for example, in a verse or, let's say a verse, where you're both tempted to play the same thing. Mm-hmm. So what can we do as playing rhythm guitar in that scenario to not do that? Just to explain what's going on, this pedal board here is on the end of Dan's guitar. This is going to be the main focus of what we're talking about. And that is hitting the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. The accompanying guitar has got a tiny little pedal board on the floor there. You don't need to worry about that. It's just a bit of overdrive and a bit of delay. And that's hitting the AC15. So that's the accompanying guitar.
So voicings and inversions of the chords is a really simple way to start. Using a capo and finding other voicings of those chords with capos.
Yeah. Well,
So
here
if
you go.
we're doing,
Let me pick a chord, Dan. Let me play a chord for you.
okay, give me an A chord.
An A chord. Okay. I'll play it with a bit of overdrive from the Keeley D&M drive.
Lovely. All right.
I always play that mindless rhythm. Do you like that mindless rhythm, or would you like a different mindless rhythm?
No, I like the minus rhythm.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll play this. I'll play D&M drive as well. We're twinsies today.
Nice.
Very rare. So you play your
Play
rhythm,
my mindless
play your mindless
A chord rhythm.
Yeah. So all I was doing there is I was doing inversions, basically starting on the 3, starting on the 5, and then I started on the 7 as well. So just same notes in the chords, but just starting on different notes. So that will, if you've got 2 guitars, yes, doing the same thing can be fantastic, but finding something different to play over what the other guitar player is doing. But if you also have a keyboard player or another chord instrument, even if you don't have another chord instrument, if all you've got is a bass player and the bass player is playing that root note, then you can do your inversions and your other voicings as well. I just don't think, I think so often we get stuck in that trap of, well, here we go, A, G, D, A. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, and if you've learnt the song, if you're talking about a specific song and you've learnt the parts, you'll probably find that's happening anyway.
Yeah. Think about how many amazing songs use the same chords.
Yeah.
Right? So many of those songs are just using a different approach to the way they play those chords and makes them sound completely unique.
So that's thing one with play something different, using different inversions and voicings of chords. The second one is timing and rhythm. So Dan, if you just give me that mindless A thing again.
I can do that. Love it. It's so good.
So you just accent stuff, and that might work in and around the vocals or what's happening with the harmonies, or it might be what's happening with the bass drum to bring us back to timing. It's just do something different. And I was playing the same inversion as Dan there, the same voicing of the same chord, although
just different timing.
I made it a bit sus there, but it just spreads you apart.
Yeah.
So it probably sounds really obvious, but it's so easy not to think about this stuff when you're thinking of something to play.
Yeah.
And really, an extension of that is single notes and partial chords, which is essentially what I was doing.
Yeah, but let's not gloss over that, because that's a really big thing. If you can come up with a single note counter melody over the top of that, so if you go back to your minus rhythm.
I'm going to use the Thorpe Warthog now for my mindless rhythm. Is that okay?
So, just saying again, and that's just using the upper part of that chord, and there's nothing special going on there. However, a part suddenly emerges.
Yeah. You're like, well, that's not rhythm guitar, that's lead guitar. No. It's parts. It's parts.
Parts, baby.
Okay, so play something different. Number 3. This is interesting. This is all about using EQ to complement the sound of the band. Now, this is a giant topic, so we tried to come up with 3 examples of where it might work.
Yeah, you can take this on for ages, but we'll do 3 really quick ones. The first one that I really like is find the EQ point of your singer's vocal and notch it out with an EQ pedal
On your
graphic EQ.
Oh wow, that's
Right?
mad.
So here we go. I have got a really nasal, annoying frequency in my voice, and everyone loves it. So if I just scan through the EQ, so like it's right there. Okay. So let me. So there's the EQ. That's the annoying part.
The one without the bobble on it, is it? Or
No, the one next to it. All right.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly that, but it's pretty close. So if I take that frequency and notch it out,
I'll do it if you like.
Sound from Dan's voice, it's very annoying. Gonna do it. But the idea is, if the frequency in my guitar tone isn't fighting against that annoying frequency in my voice, it'll actually, I'm not changing volume, right? But that guitar part will sit so much easier underneath this.
And that goes for the lead vocalist as much as it does the other guitar player in the band or the keyboard player or any other kind of vocal frequency instrument.
Yeah.
So it can be quite brave to do things like that, because you might be really super happy with your guitar sound and absolutely love it, and find that you're having to change it quite drastically in order for it to sit in the band, which can be a bit of an ego threat. But at the end of the day, it's all about the band and what works.
Sure.
It?
Okay, so the next one that is really important for guitar players to understand is the role of bottom end. The lower frequencies, they're fun and they sound great. There is an issue when you put them in the context of a band. Okay, so I've basically turned off the mid side, the mid boost side of the D&M drive. I've just now got my side on, and it sounds like this. Very flat. Okay, now if we play a track and I'll do some rhythm with that sound, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill basically 100, 200 hertz.
Cool. I thought I'd better give you some other guitar in there, because on its own, it did start to sound a bit thin.
Sure.
So, for example, just let me hear that sound.
Keep going. So that sound is basically all mids, right? All mids and top end.
It's an extreme example, isn't it? You probably wouldn't go that far.
No,
but we go that far to make the point.
But you have a listen to Van Halen one.
Yeah.
Listen to the guitar. Have a really good listen. There's no bottom end in that guitar sound. Those sorts of sounds, they can, it's like as far as a rhythm thing is concerned, they can still be really spiky and really noticeable, but without being in the way of the vocal. You know what I mean? Without being in the way of anything else. Getting rid of bottom end with those sorts of rhythm parts, they will really stand out without having to be loud.
In your headphones, hopefully you are listening in headphones, that probably sounds like quite an extreme example. What will happen is when you get to a gig, and if you're in a room, especially if you're in quite a big room, you're likely to have a problem in, well, anywhere from like 150 to 400, but it's usually 200 to 300 hertz.
Sure.
Rooms are horrible.
Yeah.
And they've got this real sort of bloating frequency. And once you get the bass guitar going and once you get the kick drum going, it just starts to sound horrible down there. And that is when you can get a little bit more radical with that bottom end roll off.
Yeah.
In that, now you might not have a G7 on your board, but this tees into a lot of the stuff we talk about regularly, which is as you get louder and more distorted roll off the bottom end. It's all part of that family.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was radical, but it makes the point, and it's just if you're aware of that and you're able to control that amount of bottom end, and it may be as simple as walking up to the amplifier and turning down the bottom end a little bit.
Yeah, that's what's open to most of us most of the time,
exactly.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you like your bass control on 5 at home, but actually once you get in with the band, nobody wants to see their bass control on 1.5 or 2, do they? Nobody wants to see it down there. But the super reverb usually always less than 2 when they take it out.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So very good. Okay. Right. Number 4.
Boost as underdrive.
Boost as underdrive.
This is quite interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't done this before.
Okay. When we're talking about solo tones in a recent video, and you explained it that most people think if we have our guitar tone and we boost it, whereas a lot of the traditional way of thinking was we have our guitar tone up here and then we reduce it for the rhythm thing. Well, if we've got a really big fat guitar sound that's working really well, but we just need to tame it a hair. Okay. Well, what we can do, if you've got a boost with any sort of EQ, the EQ on the Engager boost is great. You've got bass, treble, and middle, and a switchable from low to mid frequencies. As long as you've got bass and treble, or even just treble.
There comes the fan. It's okay. We're going to be into an example soon, so I'm not going to turn it off.
All right, cool. So if I'm going to set up, nice big sound on the D&M drive. There's my riff, right? Chugging away. However, as soon as a vocal comes in, I just want to be able to control it. I don't want to change the gain structure. I just want to be able to temper that a little bit. Okay, what I can do, if I engage the boost here and I just get it set up for, unity to start with.
So you'd be running the boost after the overdrive in this.
Exactly. I don't want to change the gain structure. I don't want to reduce the input or the level from the guitar going into that overdrive pedal. Okay.
So theoretically, you could do this with any overdrive pedal as long as it didn't colour the EQ too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Okay, so we've just found out that this boost by itself, the volume pedal won't go below unity gain, but all is not lost because we can actually control those gain levels with the EQ. So here is the D&M drive, and there's the boost engaged. So we're not changing anything. Now, as an underdrive, what I want to do is I want to reduce the bass frequencies and the mid frequencies a hair, but I'm going to try and leave the treble frequencies where they are.
Okay.
Okay, so. So with those treble frequencies sort of left alone, we're still getting the same, the transients are similar, that percussive thing is similar, but we're not taking up the same amount of space. You know what I mean? So the sound is there, that feel is there, but instead of, with a heavy thing like that, instead of trying to push over the top of that, what we can do is bring our thing back just a hair so that it creates more space for the singer and for the soloist and for whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a slight step away from simply turning down, isn't it? Because if you turn down from the guitar, you'd lose gain.
Yep.
If you turn down using a volume pedal, the EQ would stay the same.
Exactly.
So here we are turning down, but we're turning down in a sort of frequency dependent way.
There we go. Yeah, yeah.
And that is, again, it sort of tees into everything we were saying about EQ before.
Yeah. I mean, again, understanding EQ and how, you know, small adjustments or drastic adjustments, it's such a powerful tool, you know. And before you even get to the amplifier, you know, this part of the signal chain, understanding how, you know, EQ then combined with gain, and how, you know, if we can drive an effects pedal with EQ, that those frequencies are going to overdrive earlier on, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, understanding EQ as far as texture and rhythm is concerned is a massive deal.
Happy days. Right. Number 5, using a heavy overdrive as a kind of a pad. When have I had to do this? I've had to do this when we played with Joey Landreth and we played Gone Girl.
Right.
Gone Girl starts with a colossal slide part from Joey. There's an acoustic guitar in there. It's in E, isn't it?
Yep.
Something like that. And so there are other guitar parts that sit in there, but it's such a huge sound that if you step on your massive overdrive sound, it's just too blooming loud, right? So Dan, could you approximate an acoustic guitar for me playing just strumming the E and the A chords?
I can do that.
Not only is that horrible sound, it's just way too loud to sit in behind the vocals and Dan's guitar part. So what do? We just turn down. It's really that simple. You keep going down.
So
it sounds so blissfully simple,
yeah,
to not even warrant inclusion. But it's all about thinking about if someone is mixing that record, what are they doing? They're taking this giant guitar sound and they're making it really quiet to sit behind the vocals.
And it's compressing and sustaining, so you can hit that chord and it's just like a pad.
Yeah. And it's counterintuitive to how a lot of people play, because a lot of people go, right, I'm going to make all my guitar sounds the same volume because that's the way you do it, right? And then the sound engineer can worry about it.
Sure. Great.
You have to self-mix.
Yeah.
Don't you? You do. And it's literally, so some people would really freak out and go, oh my goodness me, I've got to program a whole new patch. No. Just lean down, turn it down. Turn the master volume on the pedal down is all I did.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. I do that a lot. If I can't sit anywhere, I'll just put on a really big distorted sound and hit chords just so it kind of thickens it out underneath, but not so loud that it hurts anybody.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
Okay. Right. Use tremolo for rhythm.
Yeah, we've got 2 tremolo entries. One is specifically about rhythm. So we've got a tap tempo trem here. Let's use a backing track for this one, Dan.
Okay.
So perhaps you could demonstrate how we might use tremolo as a rhythmic effect over this here backing track. Up for it?
Yep.
Or I spoiled your fun there.
It's all right.
You went to so what was it? What the first one was?
Just
it's me.
First one was a dotted eighth.
Yeah.
And then the second one was just a quarter note. Classic tremolo thing, hard edge tremolo, and it's going along. There we go. The fans are on. That tremolo is just going along with the rhythm of the track. Now the cool thing about getting a tremolo to do that, because of the nature of tremolo, if I did that sound without the tremolo on, it would feel twice as loud.
Yes, that's why I kind of joined in partway through to show the interplay of the two guitars.
Sure. And it's this psychoacoustic thing that happens because it's literally chopping off half the signal, even though the amplitude is the same, because we're losing half the signal, it feels quieter. And then so it sits beautifully under the vocal. So using tremolo like that is a great way, to do rhythm stuff. The other side of that rhythm stuff, so that's a square wave.
Yeah.
So now if I make the wave, this is like a sawtooth wave. So it ramps up and then comes down. So we've all heard that square tooth thing again. But if we play the same track, and just to hear the difference changing the waveform makes.
See, now what Dan has just stumbled into there is the problem of using tremolo rhythmically. Because unless your drummer is synced to your tremolo pedal, or you're all synced off a MIDI clock or something, getting that to work is almost impossible for any more than about 4 or 8 bars, isn't it?
Sure.
To do it for a whole track.
It's very tricky.
It's quite tricky. It's quite tough unless you set the song up on the tremolo and the drummer follows it.
Yeah.
But trying to do it the other way around, trying to tap to as you just heard. So the other way to use tremolo is not to worry about the rhythmic thing and have it pulsing so that it's not necessarily in time, but still gives you an effect. I do that all the time. I've got the Supro tremolo here on the floor. So this isn't even harmonic tremolo, it's just... So you just hear that in the same context a sec.
Wonderful.
It wasn't in time.
No.
And I do that all the time. And even if you made it quite fast, I'm just going to increase the speed considerably. So
Yeah, that was comedy.
obviously it's still rhythmic. Obviously it's still doing a rhythmic thing, but it's not necessarily in time with the song. So,
and I'll just make that point because that's really important. I think a lot of people get hung up on tap tempo thing and making sure that everything's bang on.
yeah,
Doesn't matter. Just find a cool sound, find a great modulation, and it just works.
yeah. I actually find it easier to not try and match the tempo of the song than trying to be a long way away.
Because
from
if you
it.
do and it goes out, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you get movement, and
Yeah.
you know, bearing in mind we're playing parts in songs, you get movement.
Sure. And I think that feeds on beautifully to where we are to.
What's next?
To number 7. Well, that was number 7, using Tremolo for texture.
Yeah,
right?
so this is exactly the same.
Yeah.
The same point, but with different types of modulation. So make it move.
Number 8, don't make
with
it move.
Modulation.
Yeah.
So all I need to do is change my tremolo, my volume tremolo to a harmonic tremolo. And what we're going to do is we're going to play the backing track. I'm going to go from normal to harmonic tremolo, and then Dan's going to come in with some rotary speaker, phaser, and vibrato just to make the point. Yeah?
Awesome.
Should we do that?
Yep.
Right, you've heard this bass line before. We might have strayed out of rhythm guitar
No,
territory
dude, no
there.
way. It was awesome. Are you kidding? It's great. So, and that's a little example of the modulation sounds like that. They can lead you into different things, different guitar parts, which are, for getting textures, for things to sit underneath melodies. Modulation, man. I mean,
It was great.
it's wonderful.
We went through rotary speaker to chorus to phaser to vibrato.
Yeah,
Is what we did there.
awesome. Hurrah!
The background noise today is epic. Absolutely epic. Okay, last two things concern delay. 9 and 10 are delay.
Yeah.
And in the same way that we were talking about tremolo rhythmically and tremolo for texture, it's the same with delay.
Absolutely. So we're using the syncope delay today. This is new from Stone Deaf. Analog delay, but it has tap tempo and a whole bunch of loveliness. So when we talk about syncopated delay, The Age is obviously a great example. An amazing rhythm guitar player, amazing guy, all that stuff. All that stuff is designed around delay. Now, we've all heard of the tap tempo, the dotted eighth tap tempo thing. But that's not the only thing you can do. It's a great thing to do, but it's not the only thing that you can do with syncopated delay. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a really heavy sound up with the filaments. Okay, so with the syncope on, so that's just an eighth note, okay? But now if we play that track again.
I gave you some lead guitar there, Dan, as well.
And it's great. So that sort of syncopation with that sort of delay, and now it's perfectly in time, but all that's doing is it's almost doubling up that rhythm part.
So you've got to play less.
Yeah, but it's just coming in on time with even down the one beat, down, flock of seagulls. Those. There's so much. As far as syncopated delay, there's a ton that you can do, but being able to find that spot where the tap tempo is great.
Yeah.
If you can't, it is worth experimenting, find a track, and then just get the delay time right, and then see how you go with it.
The great benefit of tap tempo delay over tap tempo tremolo is the tremolo is set, and that's it. You can't do anything about it. With the delay, it only delays what you play.
Exactly.
So if you've gone out 4 bars later, don't worry, because you can just play on the beat again and you're back in time.
Yep.
So you don't lose it quite as bad
Yep.
in tap tempo delay as you do tap tempo tremolo.
Finally, and this is something that I do a lot, but I'm going to get you to do it so you can
Okay.
experience it. So this is something using delay texturally, forgetting about delay times and things like that. What we want to do is you want to set our feedback on the delay on the verge of oscillation, right?
Okay.
So it's not quite tipping over the edge, but almost. Like it feels like it wants to go there. So,
It definitely wants to go there.
all right. So
There you go. That's too much, man. That's too much. There we go. Let's try this. Bit more.
it is fiddly, but when you get it, Wonderful. So yeah, the idea is that you swell into that delay sound, and you can do it. You don't have to use a lot of gain to do it. I mean, you can do it with a clean chord, but you get these pads going, right?
A clean chord, Dan.
So
I hear you.
chop the clean
This is
chord.
what you want. Yeah, okay. So we're just going to play a clean chord.
Yep.
And we're going to have the delay up.
And swell another one on the top of that. So as soon as you hit a note like that, it becomes rhythmical. But while you've got that much feedback going on and you're just creating these pads, it is awesome.
It took me a minute just to get there, and hopefully Simon will cut in to the point where we actually started to get it there.
It's fun, right?
It is, and it is a totally different approach to playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And it takes us right back to the top of the show where we say, maybe there's no rhythm, maybe there's no lead. There are just parts in songs. And maybe that is the key to playing more interesting, both texturally, musically, and sonically interesting rhythm guitar is to stop thinking about it as rhythm guitar and to start thinking about it as parts.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Music, just noise.
Doesn't stop you having to go... That's always rhythm guitar, and it always will be, right? So if you've got to play that part, you've got to play that part.
Yeah, but being able to, armed with this sort of stuff, you can step out of those, you know, and into something else, which is really nice. There we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I thought that was an absolute blast. It was great.
It was an interesting extra level of production, as you can see from my sweating arms.
Awesome. Okay, I want to say a massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. We literally couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you so much. A huge thank you to everyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grabbed a t-shirt or grabbed some moccasins.
A pedal.
Yeah, a pedal. Imagine that.
Ceremonial Christmas chocolates.
Nice.
Sorry, holiday chocolates.
Yeah. Any of that stuff, it's all there.
Yeah.
Also, to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Anderton's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
And our dear friends in Australia
would be Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland.
There we go, guys. If you enjoyed that, please subscribe, and we will see you soon. Bye.